Good morning everyone. Today I will be talking about nanotechnology in dermatology. So nanotechnology is the study of particles 100 nanometer in size or smaller. The concept is that particles when reduced to smaller size assume different properties. So designing, characterization, production and application of structures, devices and systems by controlling their shape and size at nanometer scale. This is the basic concept of this nanotechnology. So this allows for creation of whole new families of substances and materials which confer unimagined benefits to consumers and patients. So this is just to show you the comparison of the size of a nanoscopic structure in comparison to atom, molecule and various viral and microbial agents and the cell. Another structure to show the comparison of common objects like human hair, human cell, bacteria and the nanotechnology products like quantum dots, nanotubes, dendrimers. Now what makes nanotechnology special? Matter behaves differently at nanoscale and this can be due to chemical, optical or physical properties. Like at nanoscale, chemical forces work differently. The particles decrease in size and their surface volume ratio increases exponentially. This allows for exposure of a large number of surface reactive groups on each individual particle. Now behavior of the particle will vary if the reactive groups are hydrophilic, hydrophobic or charged. Even very weak van der Waals forces take on tremendous significance at the nanoscale. The interaction of the small scale particles with light also varies. Particles that are smaller than wavelength of ambient light may actually become invisible. Particles that interact with light of different wavelengths may appear to have different colors. A particle with no intrinsic color or dye of its own may acquire color at different sizes, as can be seen when a clear soap bubble acquires a rainbow of colors as its thickness varies. Similarly, particles can be manufactured to desired sizes to interact with specific light wavelengths such as laser or ultraviolet rays. This interaction can be exploited for diagnostic and therapeutic purposes or energy deliveries. Now various projected phases of nanotechnology growth: passive nanostructures like sunscreens, active nanostructures, drug delivery devices, then nanosystems including nanocomputer and integrated nanosystems which are independently functioning nanomachines. This is the projected phase of development of nanotechnology growth and we are already achieved active nanostructure technology. Now prerequisites for this technology, it is not only about size but also manufacture, design, precision and specificity. It is not enough to have a 10 nanometer particle. Particle must be made to pre-programmed specifications. They must be of certain length and width and have certain surface moieties. Must be able to interact with its neighbors in a precise way, lack impurities and manufacture must be controllable and reproducible. It requires atom smashing technology to make small metal particles of desired size, uniformity and dispersibility. Individual component of drug delivery vehicle needs to be made in high enough volume and low cost to be practical. And a prototype material may require the resources and research and development efforts to produce, but its mass produced progeny should be much cheaper. Now just to give a brief idea, glass which shatters at macro scale becomes flexible like spaghetti at nanoscale. Steel which is hard in general becomes malleable like cheese, and similarly diamond which is extremely hard can be rubbery and springy at nanoscale. So benefits include materials and devices are expected to be faster, smaller, more powerful, efficient and versatile. Treatments are anticipated to be more efficacious, specific and flexible, and devices and drugs to be more customized, versatile and cost effective. We'll skip the glimpses as such. Now current nanotechnology products. In skin care, these include sunscreens, antibacterial cleansers, makeup, toothpaste, cosmetic products like toothpaste, shampoo, lipsticks, face powders, anti-wrinkle creams, etc. Now nanoemulsions. In contrast to standard emulsions, nanoemulsion particle sizes are less than 1000 nanometer, usually ranging from 50 to 1000 nanometer. On application, these become invisible, develop good sensory texture with a light, non-greasy feel. And these allow for liquid formulations that can be sprayed and do not undergo phase separation during storage. Because of lipophilic interior, they are efficient at transporting hydrophobic substances in aqueous environments. This allows for deeper penetration of water immiscible active ingredients such as antioxidants, retinol or lipids, and increase their effective concentration in target tissues. Because of hydrophilic exterior, these can deliver higher concentrations of lipophilic packages into the skin and hair and yet maintain a light, non-greasy feel. Now, nanoemulsions are being studied as emollients to reduce the water loss and enhancing the barrier function of skin, drug delivery vehicles, cutaneous delivery vehicles for anti-aging products, topical nanoemulsions containing gamma-aminobutyric acid, an inhibitory neurotransmitter with muscle relaxing properties for wrinkle reduction, and to incorporate nutrients and flavorings to create a new world of nutraceuticals. These also possess antimicrobial properties, like soybean oil is able to kill many pathogens including bacteria and viruses when droplets of 400 to 600 nanometer are created. Now, sunscreens, which we commonly use in our daily practice, are also incorporated with nano-sized materials having several properties like spreads and disperses easily in aqueous and more cosmetically elegant vehicles, vanishes when evenly applied as compared to physical blockers. These are more likely to protect the skin from UV exposure and are more evenly coated onto the skin, more effective protection and fewer gaps in coverage over skin contours and surface irregularities. Fillers typically require injection to penetrate the skin. Hyaluronic acid, which is in its bulk form around 50,000 nanometer or larger in size, is unable to penetrate the skin. But nano-sized particles can penetrate the skin and are the basis of topical delivery system in development. Botulinum toxin has been stabilized and encapsulated in a form that allows penetration of the skin and apparent effacement of rhytids in early clinical trials. Then retinoids, as we all know, offer instability and irritability. So nano-encapsulated retinoids are more stable and their release can be controlled and slowed, resulting in less irritation. Solid lipid nanoparticles and nanostructured lipid carriers can be synthesized with an active ingredient in the center of the particles to delay release. Slow release kinetics are important for perfumes, which can yield all-day fragrance, or in case of insect repellents. Now, this is the diagram showing first one is the slow release kinetics, so that whole day fragrance can be maintained with perfumes or the insect repellent activity can be continued throughout the day. The second one is coupled to the receptors so that particular agents can come and attach to the site. Then the last one shows that polymers degrade in the presence of free oxygen radicals or radio frequency, and the capsule is destroyed and there is release of the product or the drug, whatever we include in that, in a controlled and localized manner. Their color control can also be achieved. Human skin is largely translucent. Three aspects of skin beauty are color correction, gloss correction and face shape correction. Now, color comes from a combination of skin type and ambient light impinging on the skin. Only about 5% of surface light is reflected. Remainder penetrates the skin where it is scattered and absorbed. Melanin and hemoglobin absorb almost half of the light and other half makes its way out of the skin. Melanin absorbs UV light, hemoglobin the mid-wavelength yellow and green light, and existing light is red or infrared. The pattern of this light gives the skin its appearance and beauty. Nanometer thick titanium coating mica powders can alter this pattern. If their thickness is varied, an optical phase difference can be generated, and if foundation containing titanium 130 nanometer thick, a blue interference is reflected, while if it is 150 nanometer then the light is green, and in case it is 100 nanometer then it is red. Then titanium coated mica powders in foundation are superb at color correction but give too much gloss. But when these are incorporated with composites of barium chloride and sodium sulfate, the gloss gives way to a matte-like finish. If 20 to 50% of nano-sized titanium mica are coated in this way, they reflect light in the mid-face and scatter light on periphery, giving a 3D effect. Another use is in lymph node mapping in case of malignant melanoma. Then quantum dots, which can be used in identifying sentinel nodes, can also be used. This is a schematic representation of a quantum dot having cadmium, selenium central shell and zinc sulfide core. Then nanopunch, which is a small simple biopsy tool consisting of copper, nickel and other metals in shape of an origami claw. Different coefficients of expansion of the layers allows temperature change to cause the claw to close and open. Nanopunch is paramagnetic and its migration can be controlled by a magnetic field. When injected into the bloodstream and guided to challenging biopsy sites such as the nail matrix and fascia, claw. Now in case of atopic dermatitis or ichthyosis, as we all know that there is filaggrin gene deficiency. So nowadays we are improving the barrier creams and being developed with technology, and it is becoming increasingly clear that filaggrin gene is critical to development of atopic eczema and ichthyosis. So one of the most helpful would be a cream that would either deliver filaggrin itself to the skin or stimulate its synthesis. So penetration of the cornified envelope would likely require nanoliposomes. Nowadays, there was one study by Trope et al. Where they are working on lamellar ichthyosis, and the defect for one variant has been localized to transglutaminase. So they have isolated and purified transglutaminase 1 and tagged it with 6 histidines for purification. And now they plan to package recombinant transglutaminase in cationic liposomes and make a cream for this therapy. So if this works out, then it can be helpful in other genodermatosis also. For wound care, as such, various disinfectants can be used with nanotechnology devices, and with increased surface contact, these generate subatomic partial dipoles of electrical attraction, commonly known as van der Waals attraction. And this force is as such quite small, but when the surface area of interaction is so enormous that contact is strong enough to support that particular ingredient. Researchers have created an artificial adhesive that mimics these principles. So this can be used in wound care. The force of the interaction would be large enough to maintain the waterproof adhesive bandage. Similarly, chitin nanofibrils, which are used in place of normal suture material, we can see that after 4 days of post treatment and the difference after 20 days post treatment. So it is much better than the usual suture material. Silver, as we all know, has antibacterial properties, and this can be used when nano-sized agents are known to be effective against Staph and MRSA. The silver in nanoparticles are sufficiently small to pass through bacterial outer cell walls and can easily penetrate the cell wall and destroy the bacteria. So silver in clothing can retain its potency in some products for up to 100 wash cycles. Various sprays are available that incorporate nanocrystalline silver and deliver ions to a desired target. Silver impregnated undergarments will release silver ions, particularly in areas that sweat, with the idea of maintaining fresh and odor-free garments. Various vaccines in the form of topical vaccine delivery system are another future prospects, and liposomes, which are spheres of lipids containing aqueous core, are being under trial for delivering the vaccine. Then dendrimers, which have an internal core where the drug is there, and various drug delivery channels are there surrounding the core. This can help in topical microbicide with activity against various infections, drug delivery systems targeting tumor cells, gene therapy and cancer treatment. Fullerenes, which are new form of carbon, they are a cage of 60 carbon atoms and have 60 places to attach chemical groups in almost any configuration. These are being used in medicine as HIV protease inhibitors, various contrast agents and anti-tumor drugs. Other therapeutic applications include that there can be self-cleaning surfaces which water droplets do not form on those surfaces because of the superhydrophobicity property at nanoscale. Then smart clothing, where nanotechnology based fabric is being created that has a conductive fiber grid incorporated. This is integrated into the shirt and is washable. Shirt is connected to sensors that detect electrical activity and it stretches to monitor its wearers. It is connected to sensors and detects electrical activity and stretch to monitor its wearers. Potential sensors could detect sweat rate and body temperature. This is particularly useful in case of athletes. Then methotrexate could be encapsulated in a thermosensitive polymer for psoriasis and can deliver the drug over the specific heater sites, and The drug delivery can be localized to particular sites which are difficult to treat, like nails and scalp. Then stain resistant clothing. Fabrics containing nano whiskers are stain and liquid repellent. This technology could be used in fabrics so that they are stain resistant. So various potential areas of application in consumer products, it includes sunscreens, fillers, antimicrobials, wound care, slow release volatile compounds like perfumes and insect repellents. In diagnostic devices, real-time visualization of tumors and sentinel lymph nodes, real-time diagnosis of infections and malignancies, and therapeutic-wise, antimicrobials, fillers, paralytics, epidermally localized steroids, gene silencers, epicutaneous vaccines, and inducible therapies can be used. So this is all about the application part. Regarding toxicity, we will be continuing in another lecture. Thank you.